Thank you. Now I'm connected already. Actually, I'm very glad, Dina, that you said that you're obsessed regarding defending Israel, because those who are against Israel are perversely obsessed against Israel. This is a clear perversion, and I want your question at the end. I'll answer at the end why is it so through my perspective. Now, because this is the fourth seminar of 4 seminars, this is the last one. We started in Stockholm and Gothenburg, and now we're here. I'll allow myself doing things I never do. I never present myself. The only important thing is what you bring, not your history or your personal history. But I would say a few things. I'm a rabbi. I used to be the rabbi in Guatemala for 12 years. I'm the Deputy Director General of Maccabi World Union for more than 15 years. I'm the Director for Education of the organization. This is a 500,000 Jews organization in 70 countries, more than 400 Jewish community centers and clubs. It's a very, very big organization, and because of the partnership with the Ministry of Strategic Affairs and Public Diplomacy, which is represented here by Yair Freiman, we are doing this Ambassadors of Truth seminars all over the world. We have been really everywhere. And I can tell you good things that happened. After a year ago, after our seminar in Guatemala with 300 pastors, 1 month later, those pastors went into the Congress. The Guatemalan Congress created a caucus of congressmen and women for Israel. And as you know, Guatemala is the second country which moved their embassy to Jerusalem. And it was our efforts brought to that, not only ours, but for sure ours. In South Africa, I don't know if you know, South Africa is the most aggressive country against Israel in the Western world. Nothing worse than that. And all the BDS, all the boycott against Israel started in South Africa. And Bendro foresaw that in 2000, 1 year before it started. Now, in March, the ambassador of South Africa in Israel was retired from Israel because of the atrocities Israel does against Palestinians. And in Gaza, it doesn't matter. They will find any other place. And when we had our seminar in June, to 1,200 Christian leaders, there were 5 seminars in 3 cities. 6 weeks later, 4,000 Christian leaders walked the streets of Pretoria, and they demanded their government to send back the ambassador of South Africa to Israel, and 1 week later, they did it. So I'm bringing examples of things that can happen, because we're not doing this only to enlighten you. We need you to take action on this. That's why we walk the world, okay? It's beautiful being here. And I should say, on the personal level, things I don't do, I never do. I'm very moved to be here in Denmark. I am, one of my 2 specialties of my MA is Holocaust studies. And being in the place that the population, not governments, the population risked their own lives to save Jews, my people, okay, that moves me deeply. I believe you're a blessed nation. That's my belief, okay? I'm a rabbi, okay? So I can have religious beliefs, okay? I'm supposed to even, okay? So, but I really believe in that you're a blessed nation. Because a nation that understands that the weakest in the most horrible scenario in the history of the world should be protected, okay, is doing a very Christian action. And actually, now I regret, my presentation will take an order that I in general, I don't use it. I just use it at the Senate in Rome 2 months ago, or 1 month and a half ago, because I didn't know you guys. Sometimes, you have to bring things a little drier. But when I started feeling you with your questions to Bender, this is a very homey place, okay? I'm certain that I'm at the Jewish community. I'm watching at you guys. You love the state of Israel, okay? So I could have started all from a different perspective, but I'm going to combine them both. And you can ask difficult questions, as you did with Bendro, because that's why we're here. So this is the thing I'm going to speak about. I think I will provide you with five axes. You will take tools with you. My presentation, I can send it to you. It's already in the computer here. Dina, where's Dina? You're allowed to send it to anyone who asks it, okay? So you can use it, okay? It's not for me, it's for you, all right? So we're going to speak about the right of the Jewish people to the land of Israel, and this issue in itself, it's a stupid, ridiculous, obscene issue. Because you wouldn't ask the Danish, why do you have the right to have a national state? Why you Danish have Denmark? You would say, are you an idiot? How do you dare asking me that? You would be offended of that. If I would ask somebody from France, okay, why do you have, as French, the right to France? They would say to me, oh, okay, and French, okay. And for sure, that person, that man or woman, would be deeply offended. So how come I come from Israel to tell you why we Jews have a right on the land, to the land of Israel? Which is an absurd question. Because isn't it obvious why the Jews should have their home state in the very same land it has been connected for 4,000 years? But no, it's not obvious, because today, even you heard, Bendror, even some academics, pseudo-academics, I would say, because they know they're lying. They completely lie, they know in advance. But for them, it's more important to advance a political agenda than truth. And you saw what Bendror brought to you. Very specific cases, proving the lies. Now I'm bringing you the hardcore of the facts, okay, the easy ones. So those who want to deny the rights of the Jewish people to the land of Israel have a twofold strategy. One, saying that the Jews are not indigenous to the land of Israel. It's not the Jews. It's, I don't know what, I don't know who, but not the Jews. And I'm going to go into details on this. Okay, this is one of the two. And you know what? Have you, I don't know, anybody, any anthropologist here? Okay, anyone? If you go today to any anthropology department worldwide, most scholars will say the Jews are not a people. You will hear that in any university today in the anthropology department. We're not the people. We're not the people. The Palestinians that 60 years, 70 years ago, you would ask some Arab in Jerusalem, who are you or what are you? He would answer, I am an Arab. He would never say Palestinian. There was no national consciousness. Today there is a Palestinian people. Today there is a national consciousness to the Palestinian. But this is a 50 years old nation. We the Jews, 4,000 million, you know what? We are as old as the Chinese and Jews. The only two nations which went on and on and on in the world with one culture and so on. I'll go into that. We don't have the right to be, we are a religion. You're a religion. You are colonialists in the land of Israel. You're not indigenous. And this is just bananas. Second, the establishment of the State of Israel was an historical mistake by the United Nations. This is the thing you will be seeing once and again and again and again and again everywhere. This is the same thing that the ambassador of France in London, in Britain, 5, 6, 7 years ago, when he was in this social meeting, when he was talking about Israel, he spoke about that little shitty place, okay? That's the way, okay? Yeah, called Israel. It's a mistake. What's a mistake? It should have never existed. This is the message. This is the fight today, and I'll show you why at the end. Why this is happening. Why is this happening? Okay? Now, I want you to take your luggage off answers to these two ludicrous, whatever you can call this, affirmations. We're going to go into historical rights, legal rights, self-determination rights, religious rights, and existential and effective rights of the Jewish people to their historical native land of Israel. That's what we're going to do now. I should tell you that in general, I'll start with the religious ones. I go to the self-determination, then the historical, then the legal and the existential. But anyways, okay, I'll start with the hardcore because the one is the main thing, okay? But I leave always for number 3. All right. Who has been in Israel? Raise your hand. Guys, I love you guys. Come again, please, okay? Great weather. Great weather. This is the moment to be in Israel, okay? You just you have to fly away from the cold, okay? Go to Israel right now. You have 17 degrees right now in Tel Aviv, okay? All right, so so the kind of things I'm going to tell you, you know them. The only thing we're going to do right now, we're going to conceptualize them. So we're going to put them in words, but you know them. If you walked into the archaeological sites, you saw what I'm going to say right now. You saw that there is irrefutable archaeological evidence throughout the length and breadth of the land of Israel of, 1, the establishment of the national life of the Jewish people during both the first and second temple periods. You've been there. You've been there. You've been at the city of David. You've been at Old Jerusalem. You've been there. You've been there in Caesarea. You've been there in Tzipori. You've been there in Beit Shean. You've been there. You touched archaeology. You saw. You felt. You were there. You were there. So I don't have to explain. Those who have been there and say, no, it's ridiculous to say that the Jews were not there. But also, you also know that there was always a permanent Jewish presence in the land of Israel, even after the loss of Jewish sovereignty in this land. And I'm talking here, the real expulsion of the Jews was after the Bar Kokhba revolt in 135 of the common area. It took 1 legion and a half to the Romans to defeat that revolt. It was a very, very tough revolt. Actually, I live in the very place where the revolt started. I live in a small town called Tzur Adasa, and it was right there. It was right there. The whole revolution was there. So, all right, you have to make your updates, okay? First was the antivirus. Now it's okay. All right. So, but now, if you're not going to ask for the presentation, now for the next slide, I'll tell you when, you take your phone and you take a picture, because there's one that you should know by heart. Now, let's talk, it's not this one. Let's talk about Israel at the time of King David. King David. Do you know that there are many historians that they say that King David never existed? You know that? You know that? Well, there are many. It's not one. It's not one. You have historians saying that there was no King David, no King Solomon. Now, I'll tell you furthermore. You know that UNESCO said that there's no connection, affirmed, published, that there's no connection between the Jewish people and Temple Mount. Who's a Christian here? I don't care about political correctness. Who's a Christian here? Raise your hands. Okay? Do you understand that by saying that, they are insulting you Christians, saying that there was no Jesus in no Temple Mount? Do you understand that? Do you understand that? If there's no connection of the Jewish people to the land of Israel, do you understand that they're saying that there was no sermon of Jesus, the Sermon of the Mountain, that he didn't exist, that there was no people? if he's not the descendant of the David dynasty, okay? Because there was no David, there was no Messiah, there's no God for you. So you have to understand that these kind of affirmations are it's an aggravation against Jews and the whole Western Christian world. As one. As one. When David Melech, with King David, we sing David Melech Israel, we sing about David Melech. When the King David founded Jerusalem, he was the king in the south for 7 years. And the tribes of the north came and asked him, be our king. And he merged north and south and created Jerusalem in order to be the king of north and south, because he had his kingdom in Hebron, in the south. But if he would have stayed in the south, those in the north will say, yeah, well, he's our king, but he's still in the south. He created a new city to merge north and south. Ira Shalom, the city of peace, Yerushalayim. Ira Shalem, the city of perfection, Yerushalayim, Jerusalem. And he united north and south. Now, take a look now at the red dot, okay? I'll draw for you Israel, okay? It would start here, going up. It goes like this, all the way down to Eilat and here. So this would be Israel of today. Okay, more or less, okay? So Israel of today is only a part of Israel then. All right? Okay. Now, this is the one you take a picture of. This is the one you take a picture of. I'm asking you, take your phones and take a picture of this one, okay? Now, why is it so that the Jewish people have national rights to the land of Israel? This is because we are the only people. We are the only people. We are the only people. Did I say we are the only people? We are the only people who established in the land of Israel all institutions of an independent national sovereignty. The only one. Which are these institutions? A national capital, Jerusalem. A government, the kingdom. The legislature and judicial court, the Sanhedrin, the judges. The military command and the spiritual center of worship, the great temple, which never existed, of course. A national language, Hebrew, exclusive to our nation, to the Jews. A code of life applicable only to this nation, which includes relationships with other members, the Torah, the whole Torah, written and oral. We are the only people. Let me brag with you. Let me brag, okay? I'll give you names and dates, okay? Jerusalem, as I showed you, was founded 3,000 years ago, okay? The first king was Saul, but Saul, okay, it was a smaller one. But from here on, okay, 3,000 years ago. All the other empires which conquered the land of Israel never, ever, ever created anything like this. Not the Assyrians in 722 when they took in exile the north of Israel, before the Common Area. Not the Babylonians in 586, destroying the first temple. Not the Persians in 541 before the Common Area, that allowed the Jews, Cyrus, which allowed the Jews to return to the land of Israel and restart the second temple time. Not the Greeks in 332 with Alexander the Great. Not the Romans 62 before the Common Area. Not after destroying the second temple, the 70 of this area. Not after defeating Bar Kokhba in 135 for the 3 years independent state of the Jews. Not in the 4th century by the Byzantines, not in the 7th century by the Arabs, not in the 11th, 12th, 13th century by the Crusaders, not between the 13th and 16th century by the Mamelukes, not between the 16th and 20th century by the Ottomans, not by the British. The only people who ever created the basic institutions that the people have in order to be a nation and create a nation state, these are the Jewish people, period. Ciao, litraot. Okay? When you get this, you got it. Where's Dina again? Dina is she's counting the millions. No. when Dina did this to you, okay, and when she was promoting the maps with the lies of the Palestinians, okay, that there was a Palestinian state that we conquered, okay, she's really serving the cause. Because the only time where the Palestinians started having something was only under Israel. Was nothing before that. It was a British colony. So this is, guys, if you get this, you got everything. But it's not only this. There are other axes which explain the rights the Jewish people have to the land of Israel. Now, this should be, guys, the main thing. The Jewish people are the native people to the land of Israel. This is the thing. Now, no, we didn't conquer the land. We didn't conquer the land. We didn't conquer the land. There are two documents which were given, recognized by the authorities of the 20th century, which recognized the right of the Jewish people to the land of Israel. The first one was the British Empire. Lord Balfour, 1917, recognized, well, it's not him. The document says that the Queen sees with favor the creation of a homeland for the Jewish people in Palestine. Oh, let's talk about the word Palestine. Who gave the name Palestine to the land of Israel? Who was the one? The British later on, but who are the first ones? The Romans. She knows the truth. Okay, the Romans. When was that? Abba! That's exactly the answer. 135. When Bar Kokhba was defeated, the Romans were so pissed off. I'm not a political... okay. They were so pissed off because it took them. You know, they used to come to the Senate and say, "We are good and the soldiers are good," and that was the only war when that sentence. Although they won the war, they didn't say that sentence. They had to bring their best general from Britannia to Israel to defeat the Jews. So it took them a lot of effort. But because of that, they said no more Jews here. So they exposed the Jews, and they called Jerusalem Aelia Capitolina. They changed the name. When you go to Jerusalem, when you see the Cardo in Jerusalem, the big avenue, that's from that time. We're going to make out of the city a Roman city. And they called Israel, the land of the Jews, they called Palestine. Because Palestine means Philistines. It's because of the Philistines. Huh? Yeah, well, that doesn't matter. But those who won the war, they do whatever they want. They change the names. But they can't change the essence of the land. So, the British, you were right. The British call it again Palestine. Why not? Okay? And they recognize that right, and you will see how big it was. But in 1947, Haftet November, 29th of November 1947, the United Nations, after 6 million Jews were cremated alive in the murderous Nazi regime, and all the people who participate in facilitating the thing, for instance, the Hungarians, how different you are, how fantastically blessed you are, you Danish people. They, 2 years after the Holocaust, they said, we recognize the right for the Jews to have something. You will see what was that something. So, in terms of maps, this is what was recognized to the Jewish people in the Balfour Declaration, 1917. Those of you who know some geography, how many states are today in this land? No. I'm talking about this in this land, in this one. How many states are here? 2. You're right. Israel and Jordan. And Jordan, yes, that's right. So, but when the document was issued, we were supposed to get Palestine, and this was Palestine. And if you take a look back, okay, it's quite similar, okay? It was like this, okay? It was quite similar, okay? But, and that was what was recognized for the Jewish people. But the Brits themselves, they said, no, we will have problems with the Arabs, so let's divide what we call Palestine into 2, and they just took 76% of the land to create an Arab-Palestinian state, and 24% of the land to create a Jewish-Palestinian state. Bender also always speaks about that his father was a Palestinian. Jews were called Palestinians before the creation of the State of Israel, not the Arabs. So, from this, we remain only 4 or 5 years later, because it was issued in July 22, okay? 5 years later, we remain with only 24% of the land. What did the Jewish leadership say? They said, okay, all right. Because we need a place to live. Because Jews were persecuted at that time. Even this is the most extraordinary decade of the whole story of Jews in Europe. The 20s. 1920s was the best decade in the history of Jews in Europe. They were in the peak. 15 years later, they were in the crematoria. So, but anyways, we need a place to live. So you say, well, but why did you give up? Okay, God gave us, now I'm talking about a rabbi, sorry. God gave us an inheritance, but we can deal with that. It's our partnership with Him. So we do what we can do with the inheritance. If you have to give up something, you give up in order to achieve peace. Because all Israelis, most Israelis, we want peace. And we want a 2-state solution. But I'm coming to that at the end. Now, this is, look, this was till 22. Now the United Nations come, boom, and now this is what you have. This will be the future Jewish state. This was the 29th of November 1947. What was the answer of the Jewish leadership to the creation of the state? They said yes. Okay. We're coming after the Holocaust. We need something for the refugees. We need something to live. What was the answer of the Arabs to this proposal and to this proposal? No. Now listen. Yeah. Look, if I would have said that no with amplification, all of you would have died here. Okay. But listen, guys. So if you understand, there is a Palestinian state today. What's the name today? Jordan, which 70% of its population are Palestinians. 70%, all of them are Arabs. But here, actually, the Hashemite, it's like a small tribe, which they are the kings of the Palestinians, but they are not Palestinians. But the queen is, yeah. She has a great life. Yes. So, in any case, here you have Jordan, okay, is a Palestinian state. And from 47, it was suggested to create a second Palestinian state for Arabs. Okay? We said yes. The Arab world said no. What about the Palestinians? What did the Palestinians say? There were no Palestinians at the time. There were only Arabs. I'm not laughing. No one of them would have said, I am a Palestinian. A Jew would say, I'm a Palestinian. Because Palestine was like, there was a Palestine Post, Bender always speaks about that. Okay, all the institutions were Palestine. And then afterwards it became Israel. So after the war, 48 to 49, this is Israel more or less. We got those limits. We wanted also peace then, and then the Arab world said, no. Again, no. When the second Holocaust was announced by the Arab leaders in June 1967, this is what they got. Everything which is green was conquered by Israel. The north, the south of Syria, if you want, the Golan Heights, the West Bank, Gaza. The West Bank is called in Israel Shomron and Yehuda. Okay, the Sinai. Okay, now this was also an opportunity for peace, and we offered peace. And the Arab world said no. Again, they said no. Now, not all the Arab world, and I'll explain to you what is needed for peace to happen. Okay, later on. So if you take a look about the map of the Middle East, first of all, I love to do this. Somebody comes and says, Israel, blah, 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 blah. I say, okay. I take out my phone. I look for the Middle East map. I present to him or her and I said, please show me where Israel is. And they never know. They think that it's as big as Sudan, you know. They cannot find it. This small thing. They cannot find it. Who are, you know, this is, and that will be the answer to your question. We're not so important. We're only on 8 billion people. Yes, we're number 2 in high tech worldwide after the United States. Yes, we're a nation of creators. We know that. We're not so important. Why so much fuss about Israel? I'll come later. I'm talking about the rights right now. But when you took a look at the whole Middle East, and you describe, if I would ask you, I'm going to give a lecture about the Middle East conflict. So, what is that I'm going to be speaking about? I will be speaking about which conflict? Between who and who? Between Israel and Palestinians. Those who say this, okay, and those who say this, and I'm not talking about you, that's the way it is understood. Today, to saying that the Middle East conflict is between Israelis and Palestinians, the person who says that is a brutal idiot. But nothing else. You can speak about the big conflict between the Israelis and Palestinians when you have burning Algeria, Libya, Tunis, Egypt, Sudan, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Syria, 500,000 people dead. You got Yemen. You can speak about, Iran, okay? The sponsor of all terror in the world. You can speak about the Middle East conflict and speaking about the small conflict between Israelis and Palestinians. That's ludicrous. That's ludicrous. That's only, and I'm saying it right now, anti-Semitism. Only. It's hatred towards Jews. It's the only way. There's no other explanation for that. You take a look. Think only about the problems Egypt has. A country which is in peace with Israel. Okay? 1 million young people coming into the workforce every year. Think about that. The problems that these are the problems of the region, okay? And that's a good country, a Western-oriented country. So speaking about the Middle East conflict regarding the Palestinian-Israeli problem, which depends mainly on Palestinians, I'll prove that. So, that's speaking with bad faith, what Bender proved to you, what he proved to you. This is more or less Israel today. The Gaza Strip is completely independent. So no, the blockade. Excuse me? In 2005, when the complete independence of the Gaza Strip started, there was no blockade. The blockade started about a year later, when the Palestinians gave a surprise to the Israelis for having an independent semi-state, thousands of missiles. So Israel had to put some kind of a control here to see what the ships are bringing, because they were bringing warfare in thousands and tens of thousands. Listen, you said to us, my son-in-law, this hurts me personally. I'll tell you what hurts me personally. My son, my oldest son, is a first sergeant at the Navy. And his health was probably hurt for life because of his service. And we don't have what to do with that. It's basic. We have to live. Somebody has to protect us. We're a completely not country in Israel. Till kids are 18 years old, you take them, you don't want them to be hurt. And from 18 on, they are protecting you. I have two fighters. My oldest was a commander of explosives. My daughter, is an officer in the army and in the spokesman of the army. Two. Okay. So, this is what we have. And this is our reality. We don't want more war. And my son had to be here all the time, patrolling the Gaza Strip, 4 meters galim, waves, 4 meter waves in the winter, okay? Taking everything out that you ate the whole week, okay? To protect me from Palestinians to bring the warfare into Israel or the warfare coming to them. He is a hero. All of them. So we already, the price we got for independence was tens of thousands of missiles. Now, 3. We talked about historical rights, legal rights, the self-determination, universal rights of all peoples. Bender is telling you, I am telling you, 70 to 80% of the Israelis are telling you every time that we believe that the Palestinians should have a state. Most of us. If we recognize the right of the Palestinians who were born 50 years ago, that's how old the Palestinian people are. If we recognize the rights, we don't have the right, the Jewish people with 4,000 years of existence, we don't have a right to have our self-determination. If we don't, there's only one reason for that, and that's plain anti-Semitism. The only reason. If we are the only ones, and we are the oldest ones, something is rotten in Denmark, huh? Yeah, something's not good. Something stinks. 4. Well, yes, I am a rabbi, so of course I'll speak about religious rights, because we are in the Western world. We are in the Western world, and we have to fight this fight together. Because the negation of the rights of the Jews to the land of Israel is a negation to Christianity as a whole. If there are no Jewish people, there is no Jesus. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. So if this is, listen, I'm working with so many Christian leaders worldwide. And they get it. And they get it. This is a fight we have together. You know, we share the Bible. Open the Bible. Israel, 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 the land, Israel, the land, Israel, the land, in a second. The Catholics, since 1965, changed their theology and stopped blaming the Jews for the killing of God. And that created a completely different approach by the Catholic world to the Jewish nation. But all evangelicals and most Protestants believe that the Jewish people are the rightful owners of the land of Israel. So I'm going now to answer your question to Bendror. A Western world, which for 1700 years learned to hate the Jews as the killers of the source of all goodness, meaning God. So that even if today, now, eu ci propongo, okay, all right, okay. And I thought that we were getting romantic now. Yeah. So we will sing, no, but you know, when you're getting romantic, you have to sing in Portuguese, you know, because it's that kind of a language, okay, not French, Portuguese. So again, but this is better. This is better light. Thank you. So I'm lost. Yes. 1700 years of the teaching of hatred towards the Jewish people, even in a complete secular Europe today, it's still on. It's part of the Western culture. In Spanish, you have, and as you can understand, I wasn't born in Israel, okay? I was born in Argentina. I decided to join Israel because my grandfather couldn't, and my grandfather couldn't, so I said, okay, if now I can, I will fulfill the dream of all generations of Tapieros. Okay? It's on me to do it. That hatred taught from generation to generation doesn't go in 50 years. It's there. In Spanish, when you want to say somebody did something horrible, it's una judeada. It's something that the Jews do. It's part of your own language. When you say, don't be a Jew, okay, you're saying you're miserable. So, although the Jews in America donate $40 billion a year to general causes, nothing. Out of that, $2 billion are for Jewish causes. So $38 billion they donate every year, the Jewish community in America, to hospitals, museums, you name it. So it's part of, and you know what? Why America is not anti-Semitic? There are very small groups. Why is it not? Because they were created by people who loved the Bible. So that was part of their own ethics. They said, these are the people of God. They were connected to the Bible. The Puritans. So that's why all the time America says we share the same values. They're right. We do. But Europe is not like that. This is the center from Constantine on where anti-Semitism was taught as an integral part of who I am as an European. Calling the Jews outsiders when Hungarian Jews were in Hungary before the 10 tribes of Hungary, before that. But they are strangers in Hungary. To give one example of a people who they themselves, the Hungarians, sent to death in 57 days from May 1944, the Jews to the death camps. They did it. There were only 120 Nazis in Hungary. The Hungarians killed their own Hungarian citizens, the Jewish ones. 600,000 in 57 days, at the time that the war was being lost by the Nazis. So it's that kind of a hatred is the hatred Europe has towards its own Jews. The name Eretz Israel, the land of Israel, Jerusalem appears 67 times in the Bible. 670 times in the Bible. 670 times in the Bible. How many times does it appear in the Quran? 0. Nothing. Nada. Gar nicht. Okay? How does it appear? As the place ordained by God for the establishment of the national Jewish life, the land that God gives in heritage to the Jewish people, to the first Jew, Abraham Avinu, 4,000 years ago. As the religious, spiritual, political, military capital of the Jewish people in the land of Israel. That's the way it appears. So if you're connected, if you're a Christian and you're connected to your Bible, which is my Bible, all right, fight the fight. Because it's yours as much as mine. And to finish, I didn't check my, I'm good. The last one, the existential effective rights. You know, since science is science, we have pulse surveys. In 1847, there was a survey in Jerusalem about the different kind of populations inside the city. And they found that the majority were Jewish. 1847. So don't sell me garbage. I was tempted to say something else. If you want to say that you were there, okay, we were already the majority in Jerusalem. 1847. This is Mark Twain. Do you like the guy? Okay. Read what he writes about his visit to the Holy Land. How empty and in which horrible state it was. What Mark Twain writes after his visit to, just Google it. Since the beginning of the organized return of the Jewish diaspora to Israel in 1882, the Jewish people developed the land of Israel to its present condition. You were there. It's fantastic. I live there. I enjoy it every day. I don't like so much traffic, okay? I would say I don't like the prices of property. This is a real challenge. The only real challenge we have as a civil society, the only one. All the other things are good. That one is a real problem, okay? Real problem for my children, for them to buy a property. But it's a great country with all the challenges we have. For the last 2 decades, the polls have proved that between 70 to 80% of Israelis want to reach a final agreement with the Palestinians. 2 countries for 2 nations. 2 countries for 2 nations. There is no one single Palestinian intellectual who says this thing. Not one. One. No, not loud, not in the empathy also. Not one. Okay? Not one. They say 1 Palestinian state and 1 general state, not Jewish state. You don't have the right to have a Jewish state. Not one. Not one. There was one. Bender proved it. Okay? Arafat said it once. Once. He said it once. Okay? He brought the recording. He showed it to us. But today, since then, not one. It's not a matter of the colonies or the occupation. It's a matter of peace. We will finish any occupation if we reach an agreement. But for that, they have to resign. They have to say, we will be losing some and winning some, as we did always. As we did with Egypt when we signed the peace agreement in 1979, when we gave up all the Sinai. It's a beautiful place, and it was filled with oil. and we discovered it, and we gave it to the Egyptians, and we said, good, for peace, anything. With the king of Jordan, 1996, again, for peace, whatever you want. Let's do it. So we will finish the problem of the colonies in a very easy way when we reach peace with the Palestinians. But for them, they have to say yes. And you know what they say? They say no. They said 7 times no. 7 times they said no. They said no to the Peel Commission in 37. They said no to the partition you saw in 47. They said no after the 6 Days War in 67. They said no in Camp David. Bender already spoke about that. Clinton was, I have this information from somebody who was in the delegation of the Israelis. Arafat, you're Arafat. Chas v'shalom. You're Arafat. So Arafat was here. I'm Clinton. Clinton is this tall guy, okay? I stand by him. You know, in one hotel in Jerusalem, this is a big, and he's always cool. Not always cool in all matters, but for political things, he's cool. So he stands with Arafat and says, sign the agreement. Sign the agreement. Sign the agreement. You have a country. And he starts shouting, sign the agreement. And Arafat, like herself, is like this. And you do nothing. Okay, no, but you don't have to sign the agreement. I would love if you could sign the agreement. Yes, that's it. But he said no, and you saw it was a crime and a tragedy. Okay, 2001 in Tava, again Israel asked for this, and they said no. 2008, Ehud Olmert, he came with with the Magash Zav, with the golden whatever plate, okay? Hey, here you have your country. Take it. Mahmoud Abbas, what did he say? Abu Mazen, he said no. And he said no. And since 2012, but more 2014, we keep on saying, come and sit down with us. Just take your country. We will get an agreement with you. Just sit down with us. And they keep saying no because of what Bender said. It's fantastic. I'm a Palestinian leader. Now I dress Prada, okay? And I'm in all possible forums, and everybody loves me, okay? And I fly in private jets, okay? My people are dying, and they're poor, and whatever. It doesn't matter. And you know what? That's even not true. Go to the West Bank. They're having the great time. Okay, a lot of corruption. I'm talking about the leaders, but the people are developing. You saw the most well-educated Arabs in the Arab world, besides Israel, of course. They are by far the best ones, as any other Israeli. And this is the end. Listen, it's quite simple. The goal was to destroy Israel. For that, they used military action. What happened? They got it. They cannot. They will not destroy Israel by military force. Because of that, there are 2 kinds of reactions. The acceptance and the non-acceptance. Those who accepted get into negotiations, okay? The Egyptians, peace. The Jordans, peace. And I would say we have all today, you're right, somebody spoke about Saudi Arabia. We are in peace with most of the Sunni world, because now the problem are the Shiites, these banana thing people who want to, no, leaders, not even people. The people are great. The Iranians are great. It's the crazy leaders, the crazy Islamistic, nutty leaders. The Iranian people are great people. And they keep on saying that all the time. Say, it's not we, it's them. They keep on saying on all forums in the world. The Iranians are good. The problem are their leaders. And it's always like that in the Arab world, in general. It's the leaders. If a leader wants to reach peace, the only thing we need, I'll finish the sentence, is one Palestinian leader who loves his people. That's the only one that we need. For him to sign the agreement. The only thing we need. A dictator. If you go today, who loves football, man? Football? Okay? Okay? I'm a Barcelona fan, okay? I'm a Barcelona fan. Yeah, women, I don't ask. Don't. It's not sexist. It's a fact. Okay. So she's not. She's from Real Madrid. That's why she left. I said I'm Barcelona. Okay. So the thing is now, but because I said I was going to finish at 4 and it's 4:07, she's right. So. Yes, if you Liverpool, you know Salah, the football player, he said the following: if an Israeli is hired for Liverpool, I will leave the team. He's Egyptian. We have peace with Egypt for 40 years this year. 40 years. So the hatred of the Egyptians toward Israel is still there, but we have peace. The only thing we need are good leaders. We don't need even the people of those countries. Good leaders who want to have peace with Israel and love their own people, because they understand that that's good for their own people. That's the only thing we need. It's not that we still have the same problems we have still with Egyptians in terms of hearts. Not we Israelis. We Israelis love everybody. I'm serious. We would go to Egypt by tens of thousands to have vacations there, but now it's a little dangerous. But we used to do that even. Now, those who do not accept the fact that we cannot be military wiped out, they try to find other ways. And there are two ways. One is by terror, smashing the moral of Israel as a country, demoralizing us. Okay? The second one is the delegitimation of our own self, saying the creation of Israel was an historical mistake. That's the other way they are choosing today to destroy the state of Israel. And that is a real threat to the security of the state of Israel. So when I'm saying to you, if you believe in your Bible, I'm talking to my Christian friends, or you believe in our people, I'm talking to all of us, okay? So fight the fight. Because they're going again for the new way of Holocaust. You don't have the right to exist, not as a nation. And when we don't have a nation, we know how we finish in extermination camps. You saw this leader today, okay? Omar Barghouti. He's at the Tel Aviv University, this hypocritical person, okay? He lives in Israel, he has living la vida loca in Tel Aviv, okay? But he says, no, but Israel doesn't have the right to exist. That's the hypocrisy of the BDS leaders. And these are their messages. You heard them. We oppose a Jewish state. That's Omar Barghouti you saw before. The real aim of BDS, of the campaign of delegitimation against Israel, is to bring down the state of Israel. Delegitimation doesn't mean the end of does mean the end of the Jewish state. Delegitimation will help bring about the defeat of Zionist Israel and the victory for Palestine. This is what they're saying. And I find myself as an idiot coming to you to explain why the Jews have the right to a Jewish state, which is ludicrous. But I have to do it anyways, because we're in the next kind of war. This is Israel's war today. So when Danish don't have to speak about Denmark, Swedish don't have to speak about Sweden, French, Argentinians, you name it. Nobody has to speak about their own rights. We Jews, we have to speak again about our rights. Yeah, that's a tragedy. The delegitimation exists in the destroy Israel paradigm. They have no central brain. They have all sorts of cells. It's contradictory and hypocritical, needs to convert people, not tell the truth, deflates the atmosphere for negotiations and peace. The delegitimation is anti-Israel, not pro-Palestinian, and the delegitimation is not supported by historical narrative. The opposite is truth. That's what Pendor brought to you. These are my data. You're invited to write me. It doesn't mean that I'm going to write you back immediately, okay? But I will. I will answer you in 1 to 2 weeks, okay? But this is my thing. It's a pleasure being with you. You're in a fantastic country. Really, this is a fantastic country. You're really blessed to be part of these people, okay? There are some people who are blessed and some who are not. You surely are blessed, okay, for being in this country. This is a fantastic country. Okay, of this one, okay? Okay. So with this one I finish. Okay, in a second I'm coming back. Criticizing the State of Israel policies in the same fashion all countries are criticized, that's legitimate. I don't like Macron. So I say Macron is not good because of blah, 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 blah. First of all, if I do that, I hope I know something about France. I don't. Okay, but let's say that's my case. So if I know a lot about France politics and I criticize Macron, I'm criticizing a government, not France. You understand what I'm saying? But criticizing the very existence of the State of Israel, that's plain and ugly and disgusting and vomiting anti-Semitism. Nothing else. Nothing else. Nothing else. Now, yes. Bye. If you're still awake, you can ask questions.
Yeah, so it's me again. The thing that I think one of the strongest argument for a state like Israel is what you said, that Israel is giving rights to the minorities. If you take 100 years back, you know, the population of minorities, Jews and Christians in Middle East was little about 20%. It's less than 5%. In 1947 in Pakistan, it was 20%. And one of the most the popular tweets in 2018 in India was a Muslim writing to the Prime Minister of Pakistan saying, you cannot give a lecture on minority because in 1947 you were 20, you're down to 2. In India, they're up from, 13-14% to even higher. Yeah. So the thing is that the argument that Israel is treating which other Islamic country is giving the rights to the minorities, it isn't, and that's, I think, a good point.
You're bringing something that I didn't want to bring, but thank you did. There were 2 non-Muslim countries in the whole Middle East. One is Israel, the other one was Lebanon, which had a majority of Maronites, of Christians. You know that today they are a minority. Why did that happen? Because of the glory of God? No, because of persecution of the Muslims against them. They just flew the country. Do you want other numbers? Think about exactly. Bejala, they are my neighbors. I'm very close from the Tzuradasa. Bethlehem. Okay, it was a majority of Christians. Today they're about 17%. What happened? The pressure of the Muslims is so huge against them that they just live. Nazareth inside Israel, that every time that they want to make that pressure, Israel intervenes and say, slow down, okay? We're protecting everybody here. You will not damage the Christian population, which is Christian Arab population, Israeli. So you're completely right. I didn't want to speak about everything, but I think, yeah?
In Gaza, they had 50,000 Christians 30 years ago. Today
Yeah, the numbers in Gaza are horrible because the persecution against Christians. I studied my BA at the Hebrew University, BA and MA at the Hebrew University of Jerusalem. And I studied philosophy and Bible, my BA. The head of philosophy was the Catholic priest, Marcel Dubois, a professor in philosophy, a great guy. And we became very good friends. In my wedding, I had an Orthodox rabbi, a conservative rabbi, a Reformed rabbi, and a priest. Okay, it was like a joke. Okay, my wedding, everybody was there. Okay, and that priest was Marcel Dubois, very good friend. He came to us. We became very friendly. I was his student, but we became friends with the years. And he told me, listen, at that time he told me, if Israel would leave the territories and Gaza, there will be a massive killing against Christians. And he told me that in the 80s. He told me that in 87, 88. Okay? That's what happened in Gaza. The moment Israel left, they flew out. It's impossible to be Christian today in Gaza. Yeah, but that's... Yeah. You know what? Now I'm talking about our rights. If I would talk about what they do, I would say this is between brackets, okay? We are in a very dark time today. It's a time where facts don't count, where you learn only things through your Facebook or any other social media, so you just read what you want to read. You don't read any other ideas of anybody else. Where any idiot writes a lie, and you read it as you're reading the most important newspaper in the world, because it's written and it's written, like it's the same thing. So in this world, post-factical world, as Bendrell showed, truth is lost. And people also came into this relative world of thinking. Like you say, no. When I say to very liberal people, I say, listen, how can you don't condemn the persecution the Islamic world does against women, against everybody who's different in terms of genders, in the disastrous ways they work, they function in terms of human rights, their dictatorships, the oppression of their people? How don't you? I say, no, they are a different culture. And when they say that, they say, or you are a racist, or you are an idiot. But it's one of the two. If you don't believe they are people like you, you're a racist. This one. And if you don't think that your values are the right values, you're an idiot. You don't have values. If in our liberal societies, mistreating women is bad, marry a 9-year-old girl also should be bad. It's not a thing of culture. You should denounce both in your society and other societies. But this is the world we are living in today. So we have a long, long fight. I'm asking you just fight this fight. Thank you. Ciao. Bye.